So this is just a video to say yes, the piggies are back together as a little group of 3. I'm really happy that I've been able to get them back together living happily, and it's just really good news for us. And this room, even though it's only a small little room, does feel so much bigger without Twiggy's little temporary cage set up on the floor. And look at all the floor space I've got. Not like we put anything there, but it is nice to just have the room and they can come out on here for floor time as well, which they do enjoy, without Twiggy's cage in the way, don't you? So they have been together for about a week. I didn't want to post any pictures or post about it in any way, just in case something did happen and I had to separate them again. But fortunately there's been no incidents, no fighting, and not really any aggression to speak of. And I think that is down to all those sessions that I did trying to reintroduce them. So just quickly, for those of you that don't know, these piggies have always lived together except for the last few months after Twiglet over there, slurping on the water bottle, had an operation, and unfortunately when I put them back together after that, her and Lyra had a fight and Lyra got quite a nasty injury on her lip. So I felt like I had to separate them after that, and then ever since then I've been trying to get them to bond and get them to live happily again, and it has just taken lots of long sessions of floor time where I've put them together and I've had to closely watch the behaviour and just see how they're getting along. So the general advice when you're introducing piggies for the first time is that you try and bond them in one long session and then put them in a nice clean cage, and you have it all done in a day, and you don't split them up and then try again, because it can set them back to the beginning. They don't know the other piggies that well, so they have to kind of start all over again with deciding who's going to be boss. But I think that's different if the piggies already know each other. In this case, they clearly remembered each other. They were just a bit standoffish. So if you've got a situation like mine where you know they've lived together in the past, then I think it is okay to put them together, then separate them, and then put them together again, because in my case I didn't feel okay leaving them overnight just in case something did happen. So I thought it might be useful to run through some extra tips on bonding and introducing piggies after you've kind of gone through the main session and when you put them in the cage together. But you have got to be aware that fights might happen even though they've been together for a while during the day and you feel that they're okay. But I think there are certain things that you can continue to do that will help avoid that from happening. So firstly, make sure you do the introductions properly, follow all the advice, do it on neutral territory. And a key thing is think about the timing, so make sure that you've got plenty of time to spend with them. If you go to work or school on a weekday, then don't do it during a weekday evening, but leave it till a day on the weekend where you've got pretty much all day to monitor them and spend that time with them. So towards the end with my piggies, they were spending a good 4 or 5 hours out together on floor time, and then I'd clean out the cage, put them in the clean cage together, and they'd be in there for another 4 or 5 hours. That was just for the last few times before I finally felt like it was okay to leave them together overnight, as they'd shown absolutely no aggression towards each other. In theory I could have left them together sooner, but I just wanted to be completely happy in myself, especially knowing that they had had a fight and injured each other beforehand. So that brings us on to smells. So thinking about smells and territorial behaviour carries on after you've done the first initial introductory session and they're in the cage together. You want to try keep the cage as clean as possible. You want to sweep up more often so there's not loads of poops flying around. You want to clean out areas like the litter trays and areas that get soiled more in the cage. You want to do that on a more regular basis than you would if you just added a new guinea pig to a herd. You have to clean them out more anyway because there's going to be more pee and poo about, but you should also just do extra cleaning just so they're always in a nice clean environment and they're less likely to be irritable, they're less likely to get territorial over things in the cage. So as well as keeping the cage cleaner and tidier, think about more distractions by giving them treats more often throughout the day, topping up hay more, topping up food, food, so they've got more going on around them and they're less kind of focused just on each other. So what I did with the piggies was I spread out the vegetable feeding, gave them vegetables 2 or 3 times a day instead of the usual one big meal at night time. I also gave them extra chew toys and things in the cage, and I topped up the hay more so that they'd come together and eat that and munch on that. I also got them more of their treat hay, which they also love, which is just pure Timothy hay. I felt like that helped because they had more things to keep them busy rather than just focusing on each other. Another thing you could do is carry on with the floor time. If they're in a small cage, you should give them floor time on a regular basis anyway, but especially after you've introduced them. One thing that I found doing floor time is have a go at doing it when they're most active, when they're most energetic. So there was one evening last week where I was just a bit, oh, you know, they've been left in the cage alone all day long. Are they going to be a bit, you know, on edge, and are they going to be, I don't know, angry with each other? So I just kind of felt a bit funny about leaving them. I think it was like the 2nd or 3rd night. So I thought, even though I was about to go to bed, I thought, why not? I'll just get the playpen out and just spend a bit of time with them, let them run around a bit. And it was just before bedtime. It's probably about 11 o'clock in the evening. But around that time, like late evening, they are at their most active just naturally. And I was rustling a bag, I was rustling receipts and that kind of thing, and they just went bonkers, and it was so hilarious. I should have taken some videos, and I really felt like that they just were running up and down, they were popcorning loads, and they just kind of had that opportunity to expend that energy and get it out the system. So then when they went back in the cage, they were just like, oh, flop. They were knackered. So I felt happier leaving them on their own when I knew I'd kind of worn them out for a bit and they were going to be okay together. And finally, in the same way that we thought about what things to include in the playpen when we're introducing them, think about the layout of the cage and what items you're using in the cage when you've put them together. So don't use Heidi's where there's only one small way in and out, because guinea pigs can become trapped by more dominant piggies, they might get hurt that way. Usually everything I have in the cage anyway is pretty much open. I don't really use any of those pigaloos, but they're the kind of thing I'm thinking of where there's just one way in and one way out, and a piggy could become trapped in there. And as well, if there's a particular favourite place, there probably is in any cage that guinea pigs like to sleep in, relax in most, then make sure that there's not just one of these places where they're all going to want to be. So for example, with my cage, the piggies love being in the floppy tunnels, they love being in the Heidi's like that, and the wooden house as well as under any kind of draped over fleece like we've got in this corner here. So really in this cage they'd be happy in that corner with the hay, they'd be happy in the wooden hut chilling out, they'd be happy in that yellow thing where Twiglet is at the moment, and they'd also be happy in the tunnel in the middle of the cage. So there's plenty of favourite places where they like to spend a lot of their time just chillaxing and sleeping really. So I think I will leave this video there. I'll just finish with a shot of them all munching happily on some grass that I just got out of the garden. It's been nice and sunny today and the grass is nice and dry, so I thought why not give them some, as hopefully the weather will carry on improving and it won't be long before they can go out into the garden and be in the run. So anyway, I hope you have enjoyed the video. I hope you found it useful picking up some extra tips on bonding guinea pigs. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up. It means a lot to us. Lets us know if you're enjoying the videos or not. And if you haven't already, then please subscribe. And if you've got any questions, then just comment below and I will try my best to get back to you. So that's bye from me and bye from the piggies. Bye bye.